321 Jamestown Caliph on Twitter.com. Real quick, we're talking about Uber Eats and how Uber Eats is just ripping off the drivers so bad that literally they're eliminating this entire industry for us as a whole. I just made $4.13 on an order that the tip itself should have been $7. So 7 plus 4 should have been $11 for the amount of food that I just received. What Uber Eats doesn't understand is when they're gouging their customers and now gouging them an additional 15% from when I asked them to include the 15% tip so we can collect it before accepting the order rather than waiting till after the food's delivered and then they give us a couple of bucks. Uber Eats is ripping off drivers on every call on an average of $5 to $7 to $10 every call, every restaurant. And what's concerning me is McDonald's the most, because McDonald's is supposed to be the king of all fast food restaurants. And McDonald's is the advocate of getting minimum wage up to $12 to $15 an hour. And their drivers are only paying them $4 for a half an hour when it costs $4 for a gallon of gas. It basically just negates the whole order. And what Uber Eats, I just don't understand. What they don't understand is when we're not collecting our tips, then we're not able to do as many orders as we need to be doing or we want to be doing. Now, you guys want us to complete more orders and do more orders, but you're not giving us the tools to do more orders. So you ground us, is what you do. We end up doing 1, 2, 3 orders, and then that's it. Because I'm not going to sit here and take 3 orders for $4 to earn $12 when it's costing me $8 to do the work. And that's the whole Uber Eats concept. It is absolutely killing our restaurant delivery service as a whole. It's totally unfair competition what's going on with Uber Eats, because the drivers are entitled to know what they're earning per order. It's not supposed to be some secret or some waiting for our tip till the next day. It's so dumb. It's just, I'm honestly really, someone needs to take Uber Eats to the labor board and have this is a national news economic crisis, what's going on with what Uber Eats is doing. And they're doing it to all the drivers, all the restaurants. It's absurd that with my other company, I'm seeing the tip, I'm seeing where I'm going, I'm seeing what restaurant I'm going to, so I can pinpoint my next call. And Uber Eats is the opposite. It's a hit or miss. It's almost humiliating and embarrassing to even work for Uber Eats. I used to literally look forward to going to work every day doing this kind of job. And now, since I've been working for Uber Eats and not collecting the tips that I'm supposed to be collecting, I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't even want to do this work anymore. I don't like to use the word hate, but I dislike doing this job so much because of Uber Eats. I used to love doing this job, but I just can't stand it anymore. And I don't understand the logic of Uber Eats when we call them and explain to them that, do you guys want us to do more orders or not? And there's so many orders that need to be filled, but they just don't seem to care about their customers. They don't care about their drivers. They are a second and third rate company. They're not a first rate company. They are not taking care of their drivers. It is humiliating to take an order for only $4 and then not know if you're collecting a tip. The tip should already be included with the food order, and then once the food order is delivered, you get paid. It's that simple. But with Uber Eats, they make it as difficult to collect your money as possible. And then the worst part about it, when the customers are tipping, we don't know how much Uber's taking out of that tip because of the way they have the app structured. It's just lunacy, Uber Eats. It is the stupidest, Uber Eats garbage company, of all the restaurant delivery companies, Uber Eats takes the cake of cheating the drivers. They are equivalent to DoorDash in how DoorDash steals tips from customers. I'll go right to DoorDash real quick. We're going to change the subject. When I started working for DoorDash, I was getting $12, $15 orders on every order. That means we were collecting our, I believe it was $5 or $6 delivery fee, plus our tips. And if you went over a certain amount of miles, you collected your miles. All the orders were $12, $13, and $15. Then DoorDash decided to change their pay scale. And the way they changed their pay scale was they eliminated the delivery fee and put only $1. And all the orders became $5.95, $6.25, $7.35. An $8.35 was a high order for DoorDash. Basically, when a customer was tipping $7, they were giving you $1 delivery fee instead of the $5 or $6. So those $13 orders went down to $7 and $8. $5 per order DoorDash steals from their customer to the driver. And this concept that not one single journalist, not one single person in the labor board, not one person could put a report out there so everybody could read it, see it, and then they would have to change their policy because they are ripping off drivers so bad. Because nobody was able to do anything about DoorDash. Uber Eats became the same kind of policy, same kind of concept. And now they're doing it on a larger scale. And it's humiliating to do this kind of work. To sit and take an order for $4, it should be $11 for that order. That order was a $7 tip. It was about $40 or $50 worth of food. So, I want to talk real quick about the reason why the economy went up to 3.2% versus 2.2% was because of all the drivers getting burned on their tips. I know it sounds funny, but when drivers are re-upping on gasoline, just to re-up on gasoline over and over and over, it means they're working harder for less. And that's the reason why the GDP went up 3.2 instead of 2.2. Because you have a lot of these drivers all over the place. And it's their own owner-operator business. What that means is the money that they're earning, they're basically putting it right back into the economy. Whether it's for tires, oil changes, mostly gasoline. And people are just breaking out even. There's no profit in Uber Eats. There's no profit like there used to be a good $400 or $500 a week profit doing this kind of work when LA Byte was around, before Grubhub bought out LA Byte, before DoorDash came in and decided to change their pay scale, and then Postmates and Uber Eats decided to be exactly like DoorDash, very sneaky, trying to sit there and say, well, we're trying to help the customers. It's not true. You're trying to gouge the customer as much as possible so there's nothing left for the driver, and you can give a shit or care less about the driver. And what they don't understand is the more we make, the more orders we can complete. The less orders the less money we make, the less orders we can take. And it's so stupid, Uber Eats. They put a little bell. They tell you 5 minutes. You expect the order to be close to the restaurant or the customer. And then when you get the food, you find out where the customer is. Boom. It's not 5 minutes. It's a half an hour worth of work. They're sitting there asking you to drive 10 miles to take a burrito. And if they would just tell you what the tip is and where the customer is before accepting the order, all those small orders would be completed without any issue. Instead, you're tricking the driver on every call. You're ripping off the driver on every call. There's just no excuse for a driver to not have his tip included with the total food purchase. I cannot understand how Uber Eats is getting away with this. It's criminal what they're doing. And I don't know how they could be taking a loss. Maybe that's Uber versus Uber Eats. But Uber Eats doesn't belong in the local restaurant delivery service because they don't belong in it because they don't know what they're doing. And they're creating unfair competition because everybody assumes that they're the big name. So they join their app. And yeah, they have the right to use their app. But they're getting gouged so much that the drivers aren't getting any money. It's just, there's no excuse from McDonald's that the tip is not included. There's just no excuse to sit there and they expect because it's McDonald's that they don't have to tip, as if the tip's already included. Hey, we're people. We're human beings. We're not robots that sit here and just go and take your food as a robot machine. No, we're people. And we're not treated like people. And Uber Eats, I'm going to say this real quick. If there's not a journalist that's going to report on what you're doing, I'm going to eventually get to this topic, whether it's important to me or not. This is a very important labor board crisis, in my opinion. It's to the point where I'm not able to continue to work for this company at these rates. And they are single-handedly hurting our industry so much, they're forcing us to quit. And the economy is doing good, but with what Uber Eats is doing is just taking advantage of the driver's time, money, and gasoline. All you got to do is 3 things, and it's not rocket science. You need to tell the drivers where the restaurant is, have the tip included with the purchase of the food order, and tell the drivers where the customer is before accepting the order. But you guys want to do it in 3 steps of trick. Not tell the driver where the restaurant is, not tell the driver what he's earning, sometimes not even collecting a tip. I made $55 last week, and I only collected $3 on my tips. So either one of 2 things is happening. You're gouging the customer so much where they assume the tip is already included for the driver. Number 1. Or the customer is tipping and you're taking a portion out of the tip. Either or, the way your app is set up, it's a crooked way to have your app set up. You guys are crooks. All of you. All the managers at Uber Eats, you guys go to work every day to try to improve your app, try to improve your customer service. Instead, you sit there and shit on the drivers. You get mad at us. You write nasty language when there's an order not completed. Instead of correcting it on your end so these things never happen, and you sit there and play stupid is what's so funny about it. You know what you're doing. You know you're cheating the drivers on every call. You know it. So someone needs to question you as a manager and put you under oath and ask you, are you stealing the driver's tips? If so, why won't you change the app to where the tip is already included with the food order? Now, when I suggested this to Uber Eats a few weeks ago, they were not collecting 15% against the customers as an addition. So what they did, instead of correcting the app to where the drivers were getting the 15%, they went and gouged the customers an additional 15%, pocketing that money. Now none of the drivers are collecting their tips at all. And you guys used that idea for your own benefit, and the driver didn't get anything out of it. That's the kind of evil Uber is. When you suggest a way to improve the company and improve the app, you turn it around, and you turn it around to hurt the driver even more instead of less. That is take 1.